Today we're talking about the magic of replays. So, a lot of people are like, well, you know, Taste, I don't have all day to sit down and watch replays and shuffle through this filter. Well, you know what? I'm going to show you a couple of really cool things that you can use the replay system. One is this search menu. This search menu is extremely intuitive and very good. You can search by floor, lower limit. Obviously, we want to watch Celestial replays. Character 1, we're Dirty Ram mains, so Ramlethal, and today we're talking about Soul. All right. You can choose the winning character beforehand or unspecified, so you get all of them, but obviously we're going to be looking for where the Rams are winning. However, I'm just showing you this. This is for the future. This is a good way to learn matchups. If you don't understand a matchup, say, what is someone that is more experienced than me doing in these situations? Because these situations, I assure you, come up for everybody that plays the matchup, not just you. So, what I do is I follow a couple of people. We're going to talk about someone that you should be extremely familiar with, Fenritti. So I have a couple of replays here. I see he fought Bombaban, and he actually ran quite a long set. I believe a 1st to 7 with this Skywong guy. So I want to watch the first replay, comment on it, and I want to show. I think we can all agree that Soul bad guy is out of control. However, he is not unbeatable. There is ways and strategies that you can apply to give you, not to help you necessarily guaranteed win, but to give you a better chance. So, I want to make something very clear from the start. This is Fenritti versus a high level or a high Soul player. I think we can all agree that this is high level footage. Therefore, we're going to proceed from here, assuming that this is generally how a matchup with two people of equal skill level is going to go between Soul and Ram. Typical interactions here, right? Ram is trying to space with Far S and H. Soul's trying to get in. Nothing new here. Vortex. Very standard stuff, right? I want you to know how bad of a situation Fenritti is in right now. As a Ram player, we should be very accustomed to jumping out of situations. Something that's important to remember, and something that I struggle with, is varying your responses to what anyone does, but especially Soul, right? Make the Soul player think. That should be the objective, making the Soul player think as much as possible, because it is something that they are generally not accustomed to. Something I want to point out is how intentionally Fenritti, that was a really good tech, is how intentionally Fenritti tries to keep a certain space. You see that jump in, how he claws? You can use it to stop Soul jump ins. A quick 5p. Very nice combo. I've talked about this before, but there's a couple things you want to keep in mind whenever you're watching replay. That's the round start, and that's the adaptations. Specifically the round start for Ramlethal players. Round starts are extremely important, especially against a polarizing matchup like Soul, because it's generally whoever gets momentum first can run away with the game. We've all seen this conversion, right? The Soul conversion. Good grab. Okay. A little bit even now. That's something we're going to talk about later, is that round start from Soul. That was extremely important, and that's something that well, we'll keep going. Something that I think is really good that you can see is how fast these players adapt to each other as well. It's really impressive. Okay, so Fenritti ended up losing that one, right? Even though he was playing extremely well. If you could put it down to one reason why he lost, You could say he let Soul get too close, right? He let Soul play the game a little bit too long. Something really important to note is that in this game, characters have what I like to call win conditions. Certain characters, right? Like Soul's win condition is literally being close to you. And I say that not jokingly, because the second he touches you with Far S, he has you in an RPS situation. And Soul players love taking advantage of RPS situations, right?
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Okay, so spoiler alert, Fenritti ends up adapting to this Soul and ends up smoking him by the end of this series. However, he has a bit of trouble with him early. Something that's really important to note as Ramlethal is how aware people are of your options, right? Think about all the prep that goes into fighting a Soul player. People put that kind of prep into fighting Ram. So people are looking out for probably one of two big options from you round start. They're looking for either an immediate far slash or they're looking for a jump far slash, right? If you far slash on the ground, what Soul immediately starts doing, look at him. He's just waiting it out, right? And let's see what he immediately does. The second he sees a far S, what does he do? You already know this is going to end badly for Fenritti. He gets the immediate jump in on him, right? Now, at the beginning of the round, Fenritti was taking care, but then he falls into the Ram habit of far S to maintain space, right? And Soul is banking on that because once he gets in, now you're playing his game. Soul's 5K makes it extremely dangerous for Ram to try to jump out of the corner, and usually that's one of your only semi-decent options to get away from his pressure. That doesn't cost insane resources, right? So it's a situation you really don't want to be in. If I could say one thing about the Soul matchup, it's that he's a character that you have to look at it and say, how did you get here in the first place, right? How did he get in on me? Whenever a Soul player gets in on you, you should go. I think watching replays is extremely good for improving, and in fact, it helped me make the leap from just a floor 10 player to a Celestial player. You can go back and see how you handle these situations, and you can watch them over and over again, and you don't have to actually experience these in real time to learn from them. You can watch how you handle them and then go see how better or more experienced players handle those same situations. And that taught me a whole lot on how to handle Soul. Whenever Soul dashes in like that, 6P is your best friend, right? You absolutely do not want Soul to be able to get in and on you. And knowing that he will eventually get in on you, you want to make sure as Ramlethal that you're maintaining a semblance of a life lead, I feel. Even though it's not necessarily the most exciting way to play Ramlethal, keeping him at bay, and this is not swinging wildly, but keeping him at bay and checking him with 5K, far slash, into heavy slash, and 6Ps, and then jump, backdash, heavy far slash is what you have to do. If you can't maintain, as Ramlethal, it's your job to maintain that pressure, that control in neutral. And if you can't maintain that pressure, then he's essentially already won. If he beats you in neutral, no matter how stupid his tools are, he's going to run away with the game. And it only takes him being right once or twice to close it out. We all know this. So as you'll see, Fenritti, I think the most important thing he's thinking about right now is maintaining his space against Soul. I should say in this set, not right now. And we'll see that as we go on. But you see how he's still having a lot of trouble with this Soul. See how now you see he stopped that jump in that time, right? He acknowledged what was going on and he swiped him out. Sometimes that's all it takes is a little swipe out. But if the move, you have to be early. That's more of a call out. You have to say, okay, you need to be looking for, is Soul jumping here? And if he is, then you need to be ready. And if you can't react in time, that's when 6P comes into play. Another thing about Soul players that you should pretty much bank on. Every Ram player has been in a situation where you have a Soul that was on you. You get a counter hit combo and you send him full screen, right? And you throw your sword to keep him pinned to the corner so you can get your pressure on him. What is the thing they always do that messes you up? Immediately vortex back to you, right? That's something we have to be on the lookout for. Instead of throwing your sword and waiting, immediately 2S. Or better yet, don't throw your sword at all and just 2S. 2S is something that you really need to have on deck because 2S will snuff Vortex, and it has a hitbox it has a disjointed hitbox, like most of Ram's sword using normals, which means that he will just completely crash into it and it won't trade at all. You'll just win. It's very important to use your hitboxes to your advantage because that's really your only shield against his onslaught. The typical Rekka into RC mix. It's gonna be extremely rough when Soul gets in on you. That's just something we have to acknowledge and hope that is nerfed. His RPS, how heavily he can make you guess. But in the meantime, we have to make sure that we're doing our job. And it's something that is just good in practice. You don't want to be... The spacing you have at the start of the round, you want a little bit more spacing than that, generally against Soul, so that you have time to react, right? If we have perfect reaction, then about sword's distance, it's fine, but you want to maintain more because of how much forward momentum he has on all his moves. It's important to give yourself that extra time.
Let's rock.
Okay, let's go back.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
What's the interaction here? What happened again, right? It's the same thing. It's almost like we're watching the same replay. I assure you we're not. He gets the immediate round start jump in. The next level, because so the Soul has adapted to that, but Fenritti is still doing that on autopilot. The next step would be to... What I would do, I don't know if this is entirely correct, what I would do is I would heavy slash round start, because that pushes them further away, and that should give you enough time to see what he's going to do with his air dash and react with either 5P or 6P. It is still close enough to starting round start far slash that they'll probably react the same way, but it's different enough to where you'll have enough time, I believe. You see, once Soul gets in on him with that round start, he has a really tough time. It's the same story. What is he trying to do? Immediately get in on him, right? Once he's in on you, he gets to play his game. You're immediately on the back end, just when he's close to you. You see, okay. I won't go back, but what the Ramlethal did there, most Ramlethals, it's strike throw mix, right? You'll either run in 5k and go for a 2k into 2D, or you'll 5k, go for grab, go for run up grab, or some other variation of that, right? Once your opponent is conditioned to that and they're only expecting those options, it is good to go into 5k, jump air dash, 5H. It's a really good, how do I say it? Tone changer? I don't know. It's a good mix-up. It presents the fact that you can go high, and it opens people up to being able to be hit by dust because they're looking for more things. It adds to the mental stack, right? Anything you can do, especially as Ramlethal, helps. But 5k, of course, makes it always a little scary. I think burst baiting Souls is something that's extremely important to do too. I feel like of all characters, Souls burst extremely predictably. And that's something that should be taken advantage of. it makes me sad when I see Fenritti games with 1 or 2 replays. I feel like we should all be looking at high-level players and their replays, being able to see their inputs, being able to see, you know, the opponent's inputs, being able to see the exact situations they're put in without any commentary or bias is, I feel like, extremely helpful. As you can see, Fenritti is still having a lot of problems, but he's made the adaptation. So what we're going to do here, we're almost done, is we're going to skip to the end of their set now. And I'm going to show you how far he comes. And I encourage you to check these replays out for yourself, right? It's Fenritti. This is an extremely well-known player. He should have a lot more replays, views on his replays than this. This is just a gold mine of info and content. Smile. Okay, let's look at this last one. So we should be able to go through here and see all the adaptation he's put into play. And note how firm a game plan Ramlethal is holding to, and how firm you need to be in your game plan against Soul Bad Guy. Okay, what are we seeing here, right? Instead of just mindlessly swinging on the ground, Soul did the same thing he does every round start, just to walk back to see what he does. He puts him in a situation where IAD into swing is not going to be a viable option. Now we're in an advantageous. If you're landing on an opponent with jump H, you're in an advantageous situation. Just point blank period. Okay, we don't use that move too much, but it's nice to close the gap for someone that's not expecting it, and then it makes them think in the future, will he jump after this? So just that little bit of extra time that they're thinking, waiting for that extra move, gives you a little bit of time to run forward for free and close the gap. That's extremely important for Ren, because you want to be about mid-range with your swords for optimal damage, combo routes, whatnot. Look, he jumps over and he immediately gets 6P. No opportunity to land an attack there. And look at the space between these two now. Now Soul has to try to get in again. And look at the life lead. The second that he tries to go in, he jumps over him, puts him in an uncomfortable situation. He gets the run-up grab. What happened there? We were playing Soul's game, right? Burst, get off me. Now we're playing my game again. Playing Soul's game in the corner. FDing, not the best decision there. And you lost, right? So we were doing great until we let Soul get close to us, right? It sounds a little bit silly, but that is how you have to go about it. Okay, let's see now. Look at this. Look at the footsies Soul is trying to play with us. Soul can't play footsies with us, can he? Not real footsies. Look at that. Gives himself enough opportunity, and look at that. Allows that fat DP to whiff. Big punish. Gets a corner carry off that. Could have converted. Baits the burst, which I was saying is extremely important. I mean, that's important in general, but especially for Soul. Making him think about when to burst. I'll tell you right now. Most Soul players, they burst the second you touch them, right? It's because they know that if they can just get back on offense again, they have a very strong chance of winning. So you have to take that from them. Make them use burst defensively like everybody else. Don't let them use it as another DP bust out, because that's how they use it. All this shows is how important it is to maintain your space. As Ramlethal, we do run down a lot of people, but Soul, you want to make him come to you often. Look at the space we're maintaining. Look at the space we're maintaining. The IAD back to maintain the space, but got a little bit too close, right? Because IAD backwards is not that great. Maintaining the space. We're not going for crazy combos here. We're just building meter. I'm going to tell you a great way to build meter in the neutral is with SHS. If the opponent's smart, they're not going to care too much about SHS because it actually doesn't do anything on block. Not really at max range. But for you, it actually does do something. It builds quite a bit of meter. It builds a decent amount of meter. If you can tap somebody with SHS while walking forward about 4 times, you should have almost about 50% meter. Very nice side switch combo. Very good optimal damage there. Soul's honest, but we do have some meter here. Oh, and actually GG. So you see what happens if you maintain a life lead, you can always take, right? It's not to say Soul can never get in on you. It's you can't let him get in on you more than about once. You can always take one Soul combo, but you have to be able to recover from it, and that's extremely hard to do. But watching these situations should give you an idea of what a Soul player is looking for, on what situations he's comfortable in and what situations he's uncomfortable in. I implore you to look at replays. They're extremely good. They're a free, valuable tool. You can look at any Celestial player's replays. And yeah, thank you.